Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
What if I told you that you had the power and the ability to help create peace in this world? Would you be interested? Would you take initiative? Would you be part of the peace movement? Welcome to Peace Conversation. I'm very thrilled to bring you this new program where we are going to be exploring peace and the journey that we all have and have an opportunity to play a role in. I want to welcome my co-host who is joining us for the very first time. Let me bring him out and then I will introduce him. Welcome. His name is Ambassador Moses Abolade. Thank you so much for being here. Executive Director of PEPNET. You and I met through my journey of becoming a peace ambassador. And I just want to thank you for taking the time to be here with us today, sir. Where are you joining us from?
Thank you, Jacalyn. I'm joining from Abuja, Nigeria. And it's good to be here.
Thank you so much. Our journey started, I believe, last year. And what I learned from you and from PEPNET really changed my life, because I feel like wherever we live in the world, if we're not in a conflict zone or if we're not experiencing violence on a regular basis, we kind of think the whole world is like that. We might see stories on mainline media and we think, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I believe it. I don't know if it's real. I don't know if I can do anything about it. But you really brought it to life for me. So I'd love for you to talk about your journey, about how and why you've gotten involved with the peace movement.
Thank you very much, Jacalyn, for this opportunity and for us doing this together. And just like you said, we met last year around August when we were having our PEPNET program, that's Peace Education and Management Training. And I would just want to go straight into the question, which is the journey into peace. So I grew up in a place called Ore, Ondo State, Nigeria, where personally at home, it can be very peaceful because I grew up in a priesthood family. But in school, especially during my secondary school, junior secondary school, I experienced a very wild form of bullying and oppression from senior colleagues. And I believe that a lot of people too have similar experiences here and there. Fast forward to 15 years later when I was teaching after my compulsory year of service in Nigeria. I was teaching somewhere in Lagos State, Nigeria, and I discovered that the same attitude, the same behavior of oppression still persists in the school I was teaching. And at that same time, I was running a tutorial center for students preparing for university, which is like college. And I realized that the attitude is still the same. But beyond that is the way teachers respond, because I was a teacher, I was the social master of that school. And I realized that it's still the same teachers trying to enforce obedience with conflict or with violence. And that is when that was when I started thinking around how do we stop this approach of trying to enforce obedience by also being violent. You're trying to correct somebody not to be violent, but you're also being violent. And that situation took me to I began to ask questions. Where can I um, bring solution to this situation? As a teacher, I discovered that corporal punishment, being violent against children or teenagers, was not working. So I have to find out. And in curiosity, in 2018, it took me to first, I want to even know how best to teach better. So I went to do a professional diploma in education in 2017 at a college of education to be certified as a teacher. But after learning about pedagogy of education, psychology of education, and a lot of other things, and I did well cognitively, affectively, and otherwise, I realized that there is still a lot to learn in trying to transform that situation. I now understand how to teach, but how do we change the attitude and behavior of the student? That was also what now led me to go to University of Ibadan, the first and the premier university in Nigeria, to learn from a master's program uh, to learn peace and conflict studies, which I did under the specialization of human security. And that really positioned me to know better and to know more about the situation. So it's from curiosity to knowledge and to action. I think you have a question or something. I would like you to go ahead. But that's
Thank
just a of where the whole thing started.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Ambassador. One of the things that I just want to let our audience know is that USA Global TV and Radio and myself personally, we're very proud to be partners with PEPNET. And one of the things that I discovered through the training that you offered last year, and of course you have ongoing training, is that the mindset of a person is what is at the foundation, in my understanding. And people actually can have a peaceful mindset, or they can jump immediately into judgment. And I found that judgment, those subtle or maybe not so subtle thoughts that we decide to put on social media, that we decide to just throw comments out randomly to people, that in and of itself can build up to something much bigger. So I'd love to have your thoughts about, we're on social media right now, all the anger and the hatred that is out there that people don't think is a big deal. But yet, from what I learned in the training, there are people who can believe everything that's out there, and that in and of itself can lead to violence. What are your thoughts?
Thank you very much, Jacqueline, for that. I think while it's good to acknowledge a very high density of misinformation, hate speech, and the rest, one of the things that I try to teach about is for the person receiving such um, nuances or information to be well equipped to know what is negative and to be able to respond accordingly. Because peace building is more around dealing with what you can control. We might not be able to control those who are mismanaging those information. We might not be able to manage or control the order, but we can control how we react to things. If you call me a madman or you say some things to me because of hatred or because of tribalism or racism, my role is to be able to look inward and come out with something better, something peaceful, and to analyze critically why is this person saying what he's saying, which is understanding the root cause of anything. If you understand, oh, maybe this person is actually also mentally unstable, maybe this person is hungry, then you start asking those things. Why would this person say this kind of a thing? So your reaction will also determine how you respond under conflict management. So And that is why a peace practitioner, or even not a peace practitioner, because you're not also dealing with peace building, peace builders. You're dealing with people that might be short of knowledge, short of understanding, and all that. So it's important for you to deal with your own emotional regulation, to deal with, should I avoid this situation? Should I confront it? What style should be the best to engage the circumstances here? So the focus, especially from us at Peace Education and Practice Network, has been more around the person understanding their emotions, their inner conflicted situations, and how to regulate them, how to be able to manage anything that comes from the outside world to them. But when it comes to mass media, it can be destructive because we are dealing with a majority that might not be capable of engaging in a knowledgeable way or in a sensitive way. So that is why professionals or people that are handling mass media must be well trained so that they can also control what they put out there, not to escalate violence, but to de-escalate it. And that's why we have specialized trainings around conflict sensitive journalism, conflict sensitive policy making, and other frameworks that we are building gradually to be able to help people that push out narratives, to be able to know how significant and how sensitive any information put out there might be. It might either destroy or construct the society we are trying to build.
Thank you very much for that. So I have a follow-up question on that because I was really moved by this experience. One of the exercises that we did, I'm not going to give any specific information, was about misinformation, false information, actually watching video clips that were put on social media about certain things that took place. And if you actually were to do some research and do some checkpoints, you would see that it was fake. It was fake news. And yet people buy into it and they see something, they think, oh, this place was just bombed, this person was just killed, and it's actually fake. And so I don't know if that's misinformation, disinformation, but people will buy into it and then take action. So what can you share with our audience about steps they should take themselves before believing everything that they see and read?
So, presently, this is a world of the media and a lot of rapid technological advancement. So, it's important that when we are engaging the media, we must know that there's a purpose why people are sharing this. And there are major ways to look at it. You should know that it's not everything that is needed to be shared. Uh, and if something is shared, there is a purpose why it's being shared. So most times, before you reshare, you repost or anything, you ask yourself some simple questions. They might be thought provoking. They might not be simple to a lot of people, but they are something you can easily do. The question is, why this? Why this content? What's the purpose of this content? Is it important that I share now? And it's always important to take these pauses. So when you see an information, you take a pause, you pay attention, you observe the content properly. If possible, you do your best to look for other legitimate sources to compare and contrast your information. And you do a bit of triangulation, which is more fact checking. Triangulation is you looking at least three other sources, two to three other sources to change how this is. And it's important for us to pay attention to this. So if two or three other sources are saying it, that means it might be true. But your work doesn't end there. What you should do afterwards is to ask, if I share this, what would the possible outcome be? Will this escalate violence or will it de escalate violence? Is it even important that I share it? With which group should I share it? And to what purpose? So it must be purposeful, it must intentionally not do any harm. There's a do no harm theory that support that there are certain things you don't share, even if you are not sure, and you need to build a scenario. Scenario building is you thinking ahead and saying, if I do this, what will be the best possible outcome? What will be the middle case scenario? What will be the worst case scenario? Now, if it's either worst case scenario or status quo, which is it, it doesn't really make any improvement to solve a crisis, then you don't have a reason to share that content. So there is an adrenaline or this surge to always want to be the first to break a news. And that surge, we must be disciplined enough to stop it. And that is important. And because we are in the world of artificial intelligence, which might be very, very difficult for you to even observe and identify what is true or what is false or what is fake, you need to be very careful. And if it's not important, you don't share it. If it will not reduce the tension, in some cases, even if it's going to reduce the tension or do something, there are some certain information that might be misinterpreted, which is more around disinformation that might be translated or misconstrued. The role of you or our role is to be able to be a gatekeeper to reduce tension and not to escalate it. So when you see any content of such, you ask yourself those questions: is this important? Do I need to share? Why should I share? To whom should I share this? And you build your scenario afterwards, and that will help us to reduce the level of misinformation and disinformation or hate speech whatsoever. And the more we do this, the more we get better at managing conflict in different, especially through the media.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. One thing that I found in teaching listening skills and also asking people to find peace in their heart, because then I feel like we have more opportunity for peace around the world, is to identify what is it that you are afraid of? Where is fear coming up in your life that it's manifesting or showing itself in a negative way, where you're putting negative energy out into the world? And so what I'd love to have you comment on now is, there might be people out there right now watching this thinking, oh, right, I don't care. There's nothing I can do. I mean, certain places in the world are violent. Like we know London allegedly has a lot of knife crime. What am I going to do about that? But we each can play a role in helping to find peace in ourselves. What can we do?
Yeah, so just like you said, we start from ourselves. You can't give what you don't have. And I tell people, you being at peace with yourself is a major work because the world is chaotic in most part of it. And this is context based. For instances of fear, it's more like you are a ship in a particular ocean, and the best way is that your ship doesn't have a hole that can allow water to sink it. So if you can allow your ship to stay safe without allowing water in it, just like Titanic or other ship that has wrecked, if you can stay without being wrecked, then you can save others. So the first thing is paying attention to your inner peace. And how do you do this? There are several ways to do this, but first start by knowing yourself. Who are you? What is your identity? And how do you stand in a matter of time to apply what you know about yourself to your own advantage? Doing your own personal SWOT analysis, which is understanding your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities and threats, will help you to know what to run away from, what to encourage, what to enhance, what to mitigate. That will help you to stay afloat. And also identifying emotional regulators. For instance, we have breathing exercise, which help most people to regulate their nerves when there is tension. Possibly you are going for a speaking engagement and you are gasping or something is happening. You most times to regulate yourself. For most people, not all people, for most people, you can take time out, do your breathing exercise, which we do for our trainings. I know you experience that, especially when we discover that there are some activities that become so tensed and people's mind either think of flying away, which is the flight, or sometimes people might just freeze and not learn anything because of the mood. So it's important to understand how you naturally respond to issues that make you more afraid or issues that make you angry and all those triggers. Now, when you're able to do that successfully, And you also look at other regulators, like either taking a walk, taking time out. There are times you might consume too much of media that might make you become tensed. There are times stress out of work and through work can put you at the edge of triggers. So you need to understand yourself well to be able to stay very, very regulated. So when you are regulated, then you can transform that into your interpersonal relationship. For instance, for somebody like me, I go out every evening, do a reflective walk, think through my process, what I've done through the day, ensure that I'm balanced for each day. Times I cannot do that, I look for other means. I go to the gym, I do my own in-house gym in my own little way. There are things like that. So for some people, it might be music. You might find out as a regulator. Some people, it might be movie, or it might be party, it might be prayer, it might be depending on what you think works for you. Use it to always regulate yourself at intervals. So when you are regulated, then you cannot transfer the peace to other people, and that starts from you, the active listening that you say, understanding empathy by thinking, not just sympathy now, but thinking about what is the likely situation of this person in this other part of the world. When somebody call you and their voice is a bit on the high, most times you need to think through what might have happened, and that will bring you empathy. But first, you must listen to them. The importance of active listening in peace building is something that is very huge, because if you listen not just to the words but to the non-verbal cues, if somebody writes something to me, by experience and by training, I can deduce if this person is actually angry. But I won't also assume. If I'm so interested in that relationship, my response should be to find out more, to probe more, that the person will know and will be willing to share. But if the person is also not willing to share, you ought to deduce that from how they're responding. And some people, what they need might be space. So it is multi-dimensional way of looking at it. But the general way is to, just like it's in the manual, we have a manual, peace education and training manual, which I authored. You need to listen first. It's in the listening that you deduce how best to engage. But you're not also listening because you want to engage. You are listening to understand, to feel connected, and to build a relationship with the other person. And that is why how we build sustainable interpersonal relationship. And that too, if you're able to do the interpersonal properly, then that will lead to community peace engagement or community social cohesion and all that. So it's from us having inner peace and building it strategically that will lead to interpersonal relationship that will be successful. And from there, you can also build that for a community. So the major place to start is to start with the self, understanding who you are.
So many valuable pieces of information you just shared there. Thank you. Follow up I have from that is, in the elevated listening journey that I've done and that I'm doing, helping coach other people, is we look outside of ourselves and think that we can solve other people's problems. So you might share a story with me, and I would say to you, "Oh, I know what you need. All you need to do is this." I mean, well, I have no idea what you need because I'm not in your situation. And I am not even looking at my own situation. I'm spending my time telling you what you need to do instead of doing something for myself. So I think the first thing is awareness. How can we be aware that we're spending more time trying to fix and correct other people than working on ourselves?
Thank you very much. And this is a very great question, Jocelyn. Fixing other people. First, we must know that we are not saviors, especially in peace building. Most of us started this journey because we want to solve a problem, and that mentality keep going and going, and we keep doing what we think, and we keep trying to be solution provider. But beyond that, and that is what counseling and mediation really taught me at the early stage of my career. Uh, Doing a program under Institute of Mediators and Conciliators, of Shattered Mediators and Conciliators, which I'm a proud member of. really helped me to understand that you are not coming with a solution. You are coming with your ears. And if you can listen, you are going to understand the situation, and you are not there to solve a problem. You are there to listen and to be a partner with the person to see the issues better, because people know things than you do. They know their situation, just like you mentioned, than you do. So your our role as peacemakers or peace builders is to put a light to it so that the person can see the road to walk through it themselves, not because we are the light, or we can point them to where to go, but we are not the one that will take them out of the situation. So active listening, which I prefer to use, which is what I think you are talking about when it comes to elevated listening, is ability to hear deeply, yeah, be curious, and when you are really present with somebody you are engaging with, they will know that you're present. And that connection itself most times solve half of the problem. Most times people really just want to know that somebody is listening to them. However, your role either as a facilitator or a counselor, there is a difference between all this under the metrics of conflict management. Like a counselor might be sympathetic, might be you know uh, listening in a very different way, which is also a professional pathway. But for mediators, most of us who are either conciliators and mediators, like myself, our role is not to be a judge or to look for how to agree or the people to, they should read a compromise, but we are not there to be the judge or to ensure that that comes to play. As a mediator, your role is to point light into the situation, but also steering up conversation between both parties so that they can come and they can shift ground, seeing the light themselves and coming to an agreement, either partner or direct. But the major thing is you are not the one giving them the solution. You are just ensuring they speak, they talk, and you listen and you bring them from a point of either personal concerns they have to look at the issues and move from where they are to where they ought to be, which is a point of agreement. And if it doesn't, it's not in all cases that you that they reach an agreement. If they don't want to, then you also let some things be, or you move it to another spectrum in the another spectrum in the layers of conflict management. It might be arbitration, it can be early neutral evaluation, depending on the case you are dealing with. But if it's a personal issue or a family issue, or is a thing that you can use counseling for, active listening is the best. Elevated listening and ensuring that you guide them towards them bringing out the solution. Most times they know the solution, they understand the situation than you do. So you bring them to see how they can walk out of the solution, out of the problem. But they will be the one to do most of the talking. You listen to them, you understand them, and you let them feel that you are there with them. You are fully present to journey with them to an enlightenment or to a solution, which mostly they are the one that provide most of the solutions. In my own experience, either in counseling or in mediation over the years, almost all of it is the client or the person engaged that always see the best solution for their part or for their problem. And your role is to listen, reframe their issues as much as possible, ensure that you are following up, ensure that they feel that you're present, ensure that they feel that you are empathetic and you're well concerned about a solution. And before you know it, you will get to that point of reaching a solution. But most importantly, they will be the one to take you on that journey. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate what you just shared there. There is a difference if we tell someone what it is they need to be doing or how to fix something, or they come up with the idea themselves as a result of working with someone like you. You are an expert in peace building, training, transformation, and also the executive director of PEPNET. Please share with our audience, what is PEPNET And how do you help people with the services you're providing there?
Okay. PEPNET is Peace Education and Practice Network. And what we do is our vision is to ensure that we build a world or people that are transformative. Um, Possibly we can look at us through the website www.thepepnet. Possibly that will have been a very good place that will see more of what we do at PEPNET. So we try to change the attitude and behavior of people, which are individuals, institutions, and society. So we believe that if we can change the attitudes of individuals, individuals will change institutions, institutions will change the society we live. And the more we do it in a society, it can be scalable for different societies. So at PEPNET, we work with schools, we work with different institutions. We have project that focuses on students. We go to schools to teach peace building. We create content for peace. We do a lot of thank you for sharing that. We are building peace education system for social transformation. So we go to schools, we even do that for non-formal institution like outside the school system. We have partners of different kinds. Just like you're saying, our major purpose is to ensure that people have the attitude, the behavior, and the skills to transform their situation from a violent one to a peaceful one. And we believe if we're able to do this with different institutions across the globe, while we are more formidable currently in Nigeria, we are building from Nigeria to different parts of West Africa, training in schools, ensuring we have community capacity building programs, which we call PLC, that's Peace Lovers Connect. We have programs like Peace Education for Secondary School. If you go to the About Us page, you are going to see some of these other things I'm listing. So we are working with institutions, government institutions, associations, different groups, because we discovered that working with individuals might be good, but it will be easier to work with institutions that are already doing a lot of work, that are already working in this space, especially either government institutions, so that we can institutionalize some of the things we are doing. We have plans and we are doing already. We have manuals we have worked on. We have like 40 manuals we are planning to work on between now and 2030. We have institutions that we are currently engaging. When it comes to flagship projects, we are trying to give capacity to gatekeepers and policymakers, people who are teachers already in different schools, to be able to carry out this project at different levels. And if you can see, just like I shared earlier, our vision is to build a world where institutions, people, institutions, and society prevent and transform their society for peace. So there are a lot of things we are looking at, and we are interested in building peace learning systems that can be sustainable over the years. So that is our plan and what we are working on. For PEPNET, we have been doing this for 8 years now, working with different people from Ibadan to Lagos, different people in Nigeria. We are gradually expanding to different parts of West Africa. So the major thing is we work with schools, we work and we use media so well. You can see myself on different TV stations almost every week these days, analyzing conflict situation. We also have programs. We used to have Peace Zone on on a platform, on a TV platform, and like this one we are doing too is also one of our major engagement with other institutions like Global TV USA, working to educate people about peace building, which is core to what we do. So our major goal is to be able to increase access to peace education for people who might not be able to come to do masters or do PhD, like most of us have the opportunity. The potential victims, the potential villains of violence, the potential victims, villains, and voices against violence, most times might not have means to go to all these platforms. And that is why we are serving as a bridge between them and ensuring that we close the gap of people who want to learn about peace education, peace media, peace building journalism, conflict transformation, and other things. So we are creating that institution to serve as a bridge between theoretical knowledge and advanced knowledge and practical knowledge in a way that people that doesn't have this opportunity can find access to peace education. That is why we are here, and it's been a whole lot of work, every day, every week, and we have a team of young people, which is also another aspect of what we do. A team of young people. We have volunteers. We have a community of more than 600 people across the globe where we learn peace education almost every week, and we ensure that we create systems that can be sustainable, that can help us create platforms to train different categories of people. And we identify a group, we train people that can help engage those population, and we deploy whatever we have. And I believe, while it has not been easy when it comes to funding and all that, we have always do our best to use what we have from the grassroots to keep teaching. Because when we have peace education, transcend curriculums or go into curriculums and help non-formal education system, is going to help us reduce the violence and the migration crisis we are having in different parts of the world. Because if they are peaceful enough to build our countries, build our society, the migration crisis, the international crisis we are having will be reduced in a way. So this is an ecosystem. This is a part of the ecosystem that is very, very essential, and that is what we are doing. If we are to calculate the economic cost of not embarking on this project, looking at what we've done so far, it is very huge. And I believe that the more we do it, the more we reduce those costs of what later happened. People going to war and thinking of violence instead of them to be thinking of building institutions, educational institutions, building structures to ensure that countries are peaceful, are secured, they are just, and they don't need to go anywhere when they have been able to build a world of peace within their spaces. If they are going anywhere, to be just for adventure and the rest. So peace building is so valuable, and that's the work we are doing.
Thank you so much. Our first episode has flown by, and we've got your email address, we've got websites, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. What's the best way for someone to reach out to you and PEPNET, and who would you like to contact you?
Okay, currently we really need we need donors and partners who want to support the work, individuals who are interested in reducing the conflict in Africa. Because if PEPNET is empowered to do more, currently we need donors and support for people who want to help us with the manual. By the way, this is Peace Education Manual. If you go to our website, you also see it under publication and resources. But I'm also showing you here, we have Peace Education for Secondary School. We are hoping that more than 10 million copies of this book goes into secondary schools in Nigeria. If we have resources and we are able to put this out, which is approximately more close to $1 million if we do the math, of having this. If we have something close to this and we're able to distribute this to students for free and ensure that most Nigerians have understanding. And these books are not just training manuals like the usual manuals. This we also give them professional pathways. What do you do after secondary school? What do you do as a peace builder who is interested in this space? What do you do after university? There are a lot of things that we are also building in pipeline. So anybody that wants to reach out to us, we really need resources to be able to do many of this. We have different projects that are currently at a stage that we need to scale them up, but we are yet to do that. So you can reach us through, you are seeing it on the screen already. So the pepnet.org, that's our website, and you can see other things. Personally, for PEPNET, we have either info at the PEPNET. I think that is not, okay. It is info at thepepnet.org. That's correct. And the second one, which you can always copy, is PEPNET, PEPNET at gmail.com. That is our major correspondent while this one is a formal correspondence. So you can reach out to us there, and you can reach out to our number is +23481096610. Let me repeat that again. +23481096610. And I'm sure the number should be on the website. So you can reach out to us via chat or any means for support. And we are still working on the website to be able to receive funds from different countries. Currently, you might still be having issues, but before the end of this month, they want the account to be able to reach us from any countries there. And you can also reach us through PCI account. I'm a staff of PCI, that's Peace Catalyst International, and also World Citizen Peace Ambassador Center. But you can reach out to, when you check us on PCI, that's Peace Catalyst International, you can donate from US, especially for people from US, you can donate to Moses Abolade through that platform. And I believe that together, we are going to move the world to a place, from a place of chaos to a place of peace. And the more you support us, the more we're able to keep Nigeria secure, the more we're able to keep, especially this media work we are doing currently. We are planning to start Peace Zone again on New Central, which I've been showing, I've been working on. I've been going there for close to 2 weeks now. I'm sure that if we're able to have resources, we can have a show on these other TVs in Nigeria, then we can extend. And thanks to all the to Global TV USA too for helping us pass out this message. So I'm sure it's going to be a wonderful engagement between PEPNET and Global TV USA. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And we will be back the third Sunday of every month, correct, Ambassador?
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure being here. Thank
you. I hope what you're taking away from this show is that regardless of where you live in the world, regardless of who's in office, who's running whatever country it is, we all have the ability to make a difference. And that is part of the reason why I became a peace ambassador. And by the way, it's open to anyone and everyone. If you would like to be a peace ambassador, if you would like to be able to find peace in your heart and help others do the same, you can also get involved. There's no set of requirements. It's basically that you live a peaceful life and you abide by giving people the opportunity to share their stories without judging them, without trying to solve problems for them, giving them a safe space. So I encourage you to look deep and look within and say to yourself, am I living a peaceful life? Am I promoting peace, or am I promoting something that's the opposite? Am I living in a place of fear? Am I panicked and filled with anxiety about what I see on social media? Maybe stop watching social media. Stop being part of social media. If you're watching mainstream news or media and it's upsetting you, maybe stop doing it and think to yourself, what can I do to help another person? How can I give someone the gift of active, elevated listening? If you are listening today and you're on YouTube, we would love for you to subscribe to our channels. We have two. We have USA, Global TV and Radio, and also Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. And regardless of whatever platform you are watching on around the world, or maybe you'll be listening later on a podcast platform, thank you for being here. And I encourage you, again, to look within and realize where you are right at this minute. How are you feeling? Can you use some breathing, deep breathing, to calm yourself down and center yourself and focus on what difference can I make in the world? Because I am empowered. And if each of us have that mindset, I believe that we will be on the right path. So thank you again for being here. We will see you for our next show, which is coming up very shortly. Thanks again.
What if many of the problems we associate with aging are not random? What if there are identifiable causes behind declining energy, chronic disease, and memory problems? We have been told that aging is simply something we must accept, that slowing down is normal, that growing older means growing weaker. But what if that's only part of the story? Why do some people remain active and engaged well into their later years? Why do others struggle with disease, fatigue, and declining health? what is happening beneath the surface, what processes drive aging. In Aging Sucks, researcher, educator, and author Red O'Loughlin explores what researchers have discovered about why we grow older. No medical degree required, no confusing jargon, just clear explanations of what researchers have discovered about the processes that influence aging. You cannot stop aging, but understanding its causes may help you make better decisions about your health, your future, and your quality of life. Because understanding comes before action. Action creates hope. Aging sucks. End the guesswork. There is hope.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/usaglobaltv. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.